In this video, we're going to be dividing polynomials using algebraic long division. So let's just get into it. Divide x cubed plus 2x squared minus 13x plus 10 by x minus 2. So I'm going to write x minus 2 on the outside, and then inside the bus stop, I'm writing x cubed plus 2x squared minus 13x plus 10. So for this long division method, we are just following the same steps over and over again. Once you get used to it, once you practice, it comes quite easily. So x cubed divided by x is the first step. So the first term inside divided by the first term outside. X cubed over x is x squared. Or x times x squared makes x cubed. Then we're going to times by the x squared. So x squared times both of these terms. X squared times x is x cubed. I'm writing it underneath my original. X squared times negative 2 is negative 2x squared. The next step is taking away. So I'm going to write a minus minus. X cubed take away x cubed is nothing. 2x squareds take away negative 2x squared. So 2 minus minus 2, that's 4. 4x squareds. Then I'm going to bring down the next term, the 13x. And then we start the process all over again. So the same steps again. 4x squared over x is 4x. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times negative 2, negative 8x. So we divide, we times, and then we take away. Minus, minus. 4x squared over 4x squared is nothing. They go. Negative 13x minus negative 8x. So negative 13 plus 8. That will be negative 5. Negative 5x. Bring down the 10. And then we repeat the same steps again for the last time. So 5x over x, or negative 5x over x, is negative 5. Negative 5 times x, negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 2 is plus 10. And we can see if we take away, we're left with 0. There's no remainder, nothing's left. So we can say that x minus 2 times by x squared plus 4x minus 5 would be equal to what we started with, to x cubed plus 2x squared minus 13x plus 10. So this is the same. We divided, and division is the opposite of multiplication. So these two multiply together to make what we started with. One for you to try. So pause the video and give it a go. So we write x plus 1 on the outside. And then inside, we've got x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6. So the first step, x cubed over x cubed divided by x, that's x squared, times by the x squared, so that's x cubed plus x squared. Take away. X cubes cancel out. 6x squared take away 1x squared is 5x squared. Bring down the next term and repeat. Same process all over again. 5x squared over x, 5x. 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times 1 is 5x. Take away. The 5x squareds go. 11x, take away 5x, that'd be 6x. Bring down the last term, Same steps again, so divide. 6x over x is 6. Then times 6 times x, 6x. 6 times 1 is 6. Take away. There's nothing left. There's no remainder. So when we divide x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6 by x plus 1, we are just left with x squared plus 5x plus 6. That's what we're left with. So that's the answer. And remember, that means that we can say that x squared plus 5x plus 6 times x plus 1 equals x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6. Here's another one. This one says simplify, but it's the same question. So we've got 4x cubed minus 16x squared plus 11x plus 10 over 2x plus 1. So when we have a fraction, we can change it into a division question. So I can write 2x plus 1 on the outside and 4x cubed minus 16x squared plus 11x plus 10 on the inside. So following the same steps, 4x cubed divided by 2x is going to be 2x squared times by 2x squared. So 2x squared times 2x is 4x cubed. 2x squared times 1 is 2x squared. Take away. The 4x cubes go. We've got negative 16x squared. Take away another 2x squared. That's going to get us to negative 18x squared. Bring down the next term. Same steps again, so divide. Negative 18 over 2 is negative 9. X squared over x is x. Times now. Negative 9x times 2x is negative 18x squared. Negative 9x times 1 is negative 9x. Take away. So the negative 18x squareds cancel. 11 minus minus 9 is 20. We've got 20x. Bring down the 10. The last division, 20x over 2x, is 10. 10 times 2x is 20x. 10 times 1 is 10. There's nothing left over, no remainder. So this simplified is just 2x squared minus 9x plus 10. One for you to try. Pause the video and give it a go. So we've got 3x minus 2 on the outside, 3x cubed plus x squared minus 8x plus 4 on the inside. So divide first. 3x cubed over 3x, that's going to be x squared, times by the x squared, 3x cubed minus 2x squared, take away. So x squared minus minus 2x squared, so that's 3x squareds, bring down the next term. 3x squared over 3x is just going to be x times by the x, so we've got 3x squared minus 2x, take away. Negative 8 plus 2 is going to be negative 6. So we're going to have negative 6x, bring down the 4. Negative 6x over 3x will be negative 2 times by the negative 2. And we've got take away, we've got nothing left. So we've just got x squared plus x minus 2. This time the question's different because there's no x term. There's a missing column. So when we've got a missing column, we need to add it back in. We can't just miss out a column. we need to keep that column, and we can do that by just writing a 0 in it. So I've got 3x cubed, I've got 4x squared, I've got nothing in the x's. I'm just going to write 0x, just so the column is still there, and then minus 25. So now we just follow exactly the same steps. 3x cubed over 3x is x squared, and then times by the x squared. X squared times 3x, 3x cubed. X squared times negative 5, negative 5x squared. Take away. 3x cubed and 3x cubed cancel out. 4x squared minus minus 5x squared. That's 9x squared. Bring down the next term, the 0x. 9x squared divided by 3x is 3x. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 5, negative 15x. Take away. So 0 minus minus 15x is 15x. And bring down the next term. 15x divided by 3x, 15 over 3 is 5. Times by the 5, so 15x minus 25, there's nothing left. So when we divide 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 25 by 3x minus 5, we are just left with x squared plus 3x plus 5. One for you to try, so pause the video and give it a go. So this time the x squared term's missing. So we just need to add it back in by writing 0x squared. So you can't just miss out a column, you need to keep all of the columns. X cubed over x is x squared times by x squared. So we've got x cubed minus 2x squared. Take away. 0 minus minus 2 will be 2. Bring down the next term. 2x squared divided by x will be 2x. Times by the 2x. So 2x squared minus 4x. Take away. So negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. So we've got negative 3x plus 6. Negative 3x over x is negative 3 times by the negative 3. And again, we've got take away 0 remainder. So we just get x squared plus 2x minus 3. Divide x to the power of 4 minus 81 by x minus 3. So we could probably do this one by factorizing, but I will do that. But firstly, I'm going to go through the long division method. So I've got x minus 3 on the outside. I've got x to the power of 4. I've got no x cubed, no x squareds, no x's, minus 81. So I'm going to go through all the steps. I haven't missed out any columns. I've made sure they're all still there. X to the power of 4 over x is x cubed times by x cubed. So x to the power of 4 minus 3x cubed. Take away. So x to the power of 4 minus x to the power of 4 is 0. That's always the case, if we've done it right. 0 minus minus 3x squared, 3x cubed, is 3x cubed. Bring down the next term. 3x cubed over x is 3x squared. Times by 3x squared, so 3x cubed minus 9x squared. Take away, so that's going to give us 9x squared. Bring down the next term. 9x squared over x is 9x. Times by 9x, so that's 9x squared minus 27x. Take away, so that's going to give us 27x. Bring down the 81. And finally, 27x over x is 27. And then times will give us 27x minus 81. And we've got no remainder. So we have x cubed plus 3x squared plus 9x plus 27. Now let me show you doing this by factorizing. So x to the power of 4 minus 81 is the difference of two squares. So I could have factorized it straight away into x squared plus 9 and x squared minus 9. And then x squared minus 9, again, is the difference of two squares. So I can change it into x plus 3 times x minus 3. So if I wanted to divide all of this by x minus 3, if I divide it by x minus 3, I just get left with x squared plus 9 times x plus 3. And we can see if we expand this, so x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 3 is 3x squared. 9 times x is 9x. 9 times 3 is 27. You can see how they're the same thing. One for you to try. So divide x cubed minus 1 by x minus 1. So x minus 1 on the outside. We've got x cubed, no x squareds, no x's, and minus 1. So x cubed over x, to start, that's x squared, times by x squared, so x cubed minus x squared, take away, so nothing minus minus x squared is x squared, bring down the next term. X squared over x will be x times by the x, so x squared minus x, take away, so that's going to be just x, bring down the next term, and then x over x is just 1 times by the 1, there's no remainder, so we've got x squared plus x plus 1. Find the remainder when 2x cubed minus 10x squared plus 2x plus 10 is divided by x minus 3. So this time it's exactly the same thing, but at the end we're not going to be left with 0. We're going to have something remaining, a remainder at the end. So the same steps. So let's do the division first. 2x cubed over x is 2x squared. Times by 2x squared. That's 2x cubed. Minus 6x squared. Take away. So negative 10x squared. Minus minus, so plus 6x squared. Negative 10 plus 6 will be negative 4. And bring down the next term. Negative 4x squared over x will be negative 4x times by negative 4x, so that would be negative 4x squared plus 12x take away. 2 take away 12 is negative 10, so negative 10x. Bring down the last term. Negative 10x over x is negative 10 times by the negative 10. So we get negative 10x plus 30. So we can see we've got a remainder this time. 10 take away 30 is negative 20. The remainder is negative 20. So this time we can say if we did x minus 3 times, so x minus 3 times 2x squared minus 4x minus 10, that wouldn't be the same as going back to the start. We would have to take away 20 to get back to where we started. One for you to try, so give it a go. We have x minus 5 on the outside, 2x cubed minus 5x squared minus 18x minus 40. 2x cubed over x is 2x squared times by 2x squared. So 2x cubed minus 10x squared. Take away. So we've got negative 5 plus 10, which will give us a 5. 5x squared. Bring down the next term. 5x squared over x is 5x. Times by the 5x. So 5x squared minus 25x. Take away. Negative 18 plus 25 will be 7x. Bring down the next term. 7x over x is 7. 7 times x is 7x. 7 times negative 5 is negative 35. And take away. So negative 40 plus 35 is negative 5. So the remainder is negative 5.